Okay, episode 1, the Frank Gioia Jr. Show. Frank Gioia, Frankie Gioia, also known as Frank Capri. What's what? I got a dear friend of mine here today who I consider family. I've known for 25 years. When I came out here in Arizona, his name is Sonny Fresenda, and I want you to meet Sonny.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sonny Fresenda, here in Arizona right now, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Good friend of Frank's. We know each other, like you said, 25 years. It's been a great relationship.
Tell everybody how you became we met in the car business.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
You were a finance director for many years.
Yep.
Actually, you taught me how to do finance. Took me from a salesman, right?
Yep.
Gave me a chance to go into finance.
Yeah.
And then after that, you became an ordained minister.
That is correct. Yeah. Back in
the biggest church in one of the biggest churches in the valley, right?
Yeah, it's
probably
probably the 5th largest church in the United States. We'll leave it nameless. You can figure it out. It's here in Arizona. It's the biggest in Arizona. But yeah, I had the opportunity to work for that church, and the senior pastor and I got to be very, very good friends over the years. We still are very good friends today. He's just a great gentleman, and it was awesome to work. I used to joke around at the church saying that it was the Yankee Stadium of churches, because when you work for a big church, you're automatically somebody. You walk around with that lanyard and they see that you work there, and it was kind of cool. I was very blessed to bring a lot of people to Jesus Christ. I was very blessed to be a big part of communities and volunteers. We did some great stuff with the city of Peoria here in Arizona. The chief of police became a good friend of mine at that time as well. It was just a wonderful, wonderful time. And when you work for a church, you kind of watch your P's and Q's when you go out as well. So it's kind of a little different lifestyle, but I enjoyed what I did. I was recruited by the senior pastor. He just liked my personality and knew that I would bring people. And we did some amazing things there. Baptisms went up. At one point, as Frank said, we were in the car business together. I put some car business things into the church that they thought I was a little bit strange doing. In fact, some of the staff thought I was treating the church like a business. When I brought it to their attention what the actual budget was for that church, I said it was actually the business of church. And we proceeded to do a lot of great things at that time. So, yeah, amazing.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what a finance director does, when you go into a car dealership, they're responsible for getting you the best deal possible with your loans and stuff like that. And Sonny was one of the best guys to deal with because he had great relationships with all the banks in town, and he was probably one of the best directors in the country.
I was told we were probably our team. I'm not taking all the credit. This was a team we built, and you were part of the team.
We had the number 1 Chevy store in the country.
We were the number 1 Chevy store in this country. We also probably had the number 1, number 2 finance department in that corporation. They had roughly, let's call it about 100 dealerships, and we were always number 1 or 2. We just we had opportunity, and we capitalized on our opportunities.
Today we just got done. Well, I want to give props to the studio that we're here.
Beautiful place.
Summerstar Studios. The owner and the CEO of the studio is Michael Giantonio. He's our executive producer.
Thank you, Michael.
You could just about do anything in this facility. Production, post-production. That's why we're going to come at you with all high-quality, higher-budget episodes. Hope you enjoy everything that we're doing. Giantonio, we just got done today doing an interview with Vlad TV. He made sure everything was set up. Right, yep. Seamless, professional.
Everything went super well.
It was a pleasure dealing with Vlad and Giantonio and the group that we have here.
Yeah.
Talk about where you grew up, because I think we grew up in very similar.
Very similar.
Just two different. Well, I know your neighborhood, Bensonhurst.
Yeah.
But tell everybody like where you come from, how you grew up and stuff.
Well, I grew up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Went to a little school, Catholic school called St. Ephraim's. 1st through 8th grade, so I was even an altar boy in
Catholic school.
Catholic school, yeah. Yep, Catholic school. I was an altar boy for a period of time back in the early 60s. I think it was 1964. The mass was still in Latin at that time, so we actually had to respond in Latin. Other than that, I grew up in a traditional Italian family, not knowing that some of my family members led a life of crime. So naturally, as I got a little older, I automatically went into a little bit of a life of crime myself.
Which was pretty normal. you know?
Pretty normal.
Yeah.
You know, it was amazing back in the day. I remember cases and cases of goods, if you will, down in my mom's basement. Everything from diamond rings to watches to clothing to everything, which again just seemed perfectly normal by our
Somebody went on a
standards.
score, right?
Yeah, I had an uncle and my dad. They had some connections out there at Kennedy Airport, and we would just drive out there and pick up a few boxes.
They
And
fell off the truck.
they
Yeah.
fell off the truck,
Yeah.
exactly. And from there, we had all kinds of things in our basement. So I thought that's how everybody lived, you know.
Because even when I was telling Vlad, right, that you don't realize you're doing anything wrong because it's part of the culture.
It's what you know.
You
It's
grew
it's
up around
all you
crime,
know.
and
Yeah, that's
if you want to take it to the next step, you keep trying to prove yourself
yeah. Well,
to get attention, right?
I had that in too because of my Uncle Sal. My Uncle Sal was part of the Colombo family actually, and
As a mate guy.
was a made guy. He was known as he had a couple of different names. He's passed on now, so I'll talk about him. But he was known as Sally Banner, Sally Penglass, Sally Paint Glass. He had a body shop on 18th Avenue. He ran the auto glass place there on 18th Avenue. Um, so I did have it in there. He had me do some small things that my mom was pretty much against. So it was a good introduction into that. If I chose to continue with that, I could have, but I went different directions.
You were hooked up with the Bananas at one point, right?
Me personally, no, no. But what my uncle was part of was there was a book that came out, and it was called the Donnie Brosco book, and that's when he was going to prison, and he called a what you would call a sit down or a meeting with my grandmother, his mom, my mom, all his sisters and brothers at his house. It was kind of an interesting scene, if you would. He's sitting there on his easy chair, and he's got his guma. Clipping.
Explain to everybody what a
Okay,
goma
if you
is.
don't know what that is, it's a girlfriend to a mob guy who doesn't mind that he's married, and and obviously my poor aunt didn't seem to know any better, but that was his gumata.
But now there's certain nights that are set aside for the guma and certain nights for the wife.
Yeah, I don't
What was
remember
it,
the
Friday or
format. I believe it was Friday was the gumata and Saturday
Saturday was the wife,
was
yeah.
the wife.
I remember
If I
back in the day.
remember correctly, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
believe
gotta
that's
think
how
back.
it went. I'm
Yeah.
getting old, so I try to remember as much as I
I gotta ask
can.
my old man to see if he remembers.
Yeah. So
I
anyway,
gotta ask him when my mother's not there.
it's more than likely that's the perfect timing. Yeah. But yeah, back to that. He had that meeting with us because at that time he was going to court, and every day they were on the news, and my uncle was there. Donnie wrote about him in the book. I appear in the book once or twice, and we'll do another show, and I'll bring the book and go over a few things that we did. But yeah, he wound up going to prison after that. And he had asked me, he said, look, there's no reason for you to stick around here in case of anything. There's going to be some stuff going on in the streets. Why don't you head out to Arizona? And obviously, I came here and my mom was here. So I connected with her again. That lasted a little bit. But yeah, I could have chose that life if I wanted to. I just,
And then
he didn't want me around.
and
I
then
guess.
happily married for how long now? 20?
This month will be 29 years. We know each other
Wow.
for 35 years. My wife, Denise. And when I came out here to Arizona, I met her here, and we've been together pretty much ever since. Yeah. She kind of saved me, and I think I helped her a little bit along the line.
So me and Sonny, I call him Uncle Sonny.
Yep. You can all call me Uncle Sonny.
So that's how we're going to refer to. You're going to see Sonny a lot on the podcast, in and out. Uncle Sonny, your brother-in-law. We always kid around with each other. He has a habit of saying "Maron," which is Madone. Maron.
Maron.
Right. Everything he says after he says it, Maron.
Maron.
So
Yeah,
we'll
it's
kid
kind of
around.
like an explanation point.
Yeah, like Maron.
Yeah, he's a fun character. He's very entertaining. His name is Dominic. Owns a local restaurant here as well. Does some entertaining in the restaurant, and he's a blast to hang out with. Trust me, you guys will love him.
We got Carmine. We got Michael. You know what I like about this community we have out here now, right? And we got all Italians hanging out. I still feel like I got the same camaraderie when I was back east, right?
Absolutely.
Well, we'll get together for pizza. We'll get together here, there. We probably got about, 10, 15 guys, you know?
Yeah.
And we're always getting together and stuff like that. Just good times, you know?
We share a lot of meals together, and that's the Italian tradition. Everything's done over a meal.
And that's what you really need, because when I look back years ago, the things that I miss about hanging out with my old friends, whatever, is the camaraderie. But if you got friends out here with the same beliefs, same you come from the same place, you talk the same language,
Same
it's
cloth.
the same thing.
Yeah, we do. We do. We all
It's
have
better.
very similar background.
It's better because you don't have to worry about getting killed or going to jail. Right?
Yeah, at least you know your friends are your friends out here. They really do.
All right, so this podcast, my vision with this podcast is not to be segmented into just one specific thing. It's going to be a multitude of things. I want to appeal to the masses. It predominantly is going to be a true crime channel, but I want to cover all true crime, not just the Italian mafia, not just the mob. I want to cover all nationalities, all crimes, current, past cases, true crime in general. That's first and foremost. But at the same time, I want it to be a channel about positivity and growth, make an impact on people, to help them make decisions. Share my experiences, share whoever I bring on the podcast as a guest, share their experiences, and maybe it can help them make a better life for themselves and make a good decision, That's basically it. You want to grow the channel. You want to, see where it takes us. Well, you know what? The reason why I'm doing this, I don't know why. I'm just doing it. I've had people for years come to me and want to write a book.
Right.
They wanted me to do a docuseries. They wanted me to do this, do that. They thought I had a great story. I just got out of jail again. They think it's even a better time to do something. I really don't know why I'm doing it. All I know is that I'm just doing it. And we'll see what happens.
Well, there's a lot of information on the internet about you, Frank.
Well, that too. Like, what bothers me too is there's a lot of information through the years that's incorrect. A lot of salacious reporting from reporters trying to make careers. A lot of people saying stuff, a lot of things. And first and foremost, I want to get that out of the way. And also, too, you never know what doors it opens up, And if I can help, if you impact one person or if you make a difference, it's all good,
Consider yourself blessed.
Not into it for the money.
Yeah.
Not into it for, what most of these podcasts go into it for. And just organically try to grow something.
Yeah, helping people would be a key factor.
Yeah, I mean,
to growing it, I think.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not all that. You want to run a business too,
right?
So you got to have the right people to do this with. Like I said, we got Michael Giantonio, Summer Star Studios. I got good friends and family. Got a big support system.
Yes.
So I'm not doing it alone. And everybody's got to be on the same page, and everybody's got to have the same mission statement. Mm-hmm. So the mission statement is, nobody knows what it is. I'm doing it. We'll see what happens.
Try to have fun.
But I tell you what, though, we're going to keep doing it.
Yep.
We ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
The studio, the people, everybody's in-house. Nobody's going nowhere. So we're never going to have a situation where we can't do it. It's just a matter of, it's up to the audience and the people out there if they want to support our cause. We'll just keep growing. What I can't get away from is, believe me, people that know me, just met me, or whatever it is, they all want to know about my past.
Right.
I get asked every day. I can't get away from it.
Right.
So I want to start with that. Right. So we'll start with where I grew up, how I grew up, and then we'll take it from there. Basically, everybody knows I'm from an area called Little Italy in Manhattan. You know that.
Yep.
I was born I lived on Lafayette Street between Prince and Spring. It was right around the corner from the Ravenite Social Club. You know what that was?
Yes.
And back then, growing up, I used to walk to school, St. Patrick's Old Cathedral. It was on Mott Street. Prince and Mott was the school, but then the church is still there. It's on Mott Street between Prince and Houston. And then there's a couple of covenants in the cemetery around there and stuff like that. But pretty much that's where I grew up. I was to walk from Lafayette Street to school and back.
And you also went to a Catholic grammar school as well, right?
Very strict Roman Catholic school.
What was the name of that?
St. Patrick's Old Cathedral.
St. Patrick's Old Cathedral.
And back then, the priests and the nuns could never get away with it today. Back then, they used to put hands on you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they would crack you, discipline.
Yep.
Brutal stuff. Like, kneel on a piece of chalk for, to put chalk on the floor. Kneel on the chalk with your hands up in the air and stay like that. Write your name out 1,000 times. put your hands on, I'm going to smack you with a ruler.
Yep.
Bend over with the paddleboard, or just open hand crack you, So that was the way it was back then.
Different life, yeah.
Well, you know that.
Yeah,
Same
I went
thing.
to Catholic grammar school, yeah. We had some torturous nuns. Sister St. Dominic had a cane, and she didn't need it. She used it to whack kids in the shins.
I'll tell you a quick story why they stopped hitting me. I never forget, I was 8 years old. And in the schoolyard, they had a line, boys on one side, girls on the other. So they would give a bell, they would ring a bell, but they would ring it like 3 times. So one ring was like, okay, you got 5 more minutes, no, like 15-minute increments. Then the next one, but then when they rang it continuously, that means stop.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the rule is you can't get caught crossing the line because they want to separate. Well, me, I like this girl. I used to flirt with her.
Yeah.
I get caught on the girl side. And this priest open-handed me like a cold clock.
Yeah.
Boom. Left his handprint on my face. I'm an 8-year-old kid. Fall down to the wall. I'm just in shock. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like whimpering. I'm like deathly scared of this guy. 2:30, school gets out. I'm walking home. My uncle, may rest in peace. I'll get into him later on. He says, "What happened to your face? You get into a fight?" I said, "No, the priest hit me." He said, "Come on, let's go back to the school." So we go back to the school. And all the moms and everybody used to wait for the kids to come out of the school. And it was this one big staircase. So everybody came down and you were greeted with your parents. So all the mothers are around, kids are going around, it's busy. They're still letting out of school. I look, he says, "Which one hit you?" I said, "That one right there." He was at the top of the staircase trying to shake down the moms for church envelopes. Because, the Catholic Church, it was cheap tuition, but they always wanted a donation.
Yeah. And
always.
Sunday.
Right? Yeah. Talking like a disser. Right? So my uncle walks over, grabs him by the shirt and collar, cracks him. Boom.
Nice.
Knocks him down the steps. Right? Everybody's like, "Oh," right?
Yeah.
Runs down, steps over him. Says, "You touch my family again, you're going to be in Chapel B." And I don't want to curse on the channel, but there's a lot of curse words, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Oh, what the,"
Yeah, what's going on?
So we were like the devil family. That Gioia kid, he can't come back here. He's expelled. He's this, he's that, and everything else. My old man said, "Is anybody going to graduate in this family?" Like you had to hit the priest. So I remember my father went back there, and he said, "I'd like to make a donation." And the priest, the head nun, the principal, everybody was there. They're going, "No, no." Right? So, look, I'm going to put money on the table, and I'm going to walk out. All right? You make a decision. Take the donation. My son stays in the school, and the priest goes to another parish. So I don't know what he put on the table. I think it was $5,000, maybe. Could have been $1,000, could have been $5,000.
Right.
I knew it was a stack of bills, right? And back then it was big money.
Yeah.
Even today it would be big money. They said, "Give us a minute." We walk outside, come back. They said, "We accepted your donation." So the priest gets transferred to another parish. I get let back in the school. Right?
Wow.
Not a finger. They wouldn't even look at me the wrong way.
Of course.
So I'm doing the same exact thing next to another kid. Another kid's doing spitballs at somebody. I'm doing the same exact thing. He's getting cracked, right in front of me, and they left me alone because they knew.
Yeah.
They said, don't touch the Gioia kid no more because, the uncle's going to come here or we accepted it or whatever.
Yeah.
But today, you can't do that today.
No, nothing like that exists.
So
Well, first of all, a priest would never touch you today. And,
Right.
I won't go there. But anyway.
I never, thank God, I never
not
got
going there.
Yeah. That never happened to me. But
me either.
Yeah.
I didn't know any
Well, that's
priests
good.
like that. All the fathers, if you will.
you hear these stories today. Yeah, it's
Oh,
sickening.
God, yeah. Frightening.
So that happened. So I was good in school for the most part. And just growing up in the neighborhood. Neighborhood was really a good neighborhood back then. Italian American. It's one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city. All Italian Americans. They all looked out for each other. I mean, it was infested with the mob. There was a mob. All the 5 families were there.
It's not called Little Italy for nothing, right?
It's connected to Chinatown. And back then, you had a lot of big names back then.
Yeah.
You had the Ravenite Club. You had Prince Street. You had Spring Street. There was skippers, bosses, underbosses, concierges, made guys all over the place.
Well, a lot of people used to report in to Little Italy, if what I remember. I know my uncle used to have to go up for meetings all the time. Little Italy was the hub for all the families at one point when I was young.
You're right. Well, I think even back in the day with Luciano and the original guys, they all were based out of there.
Right.
Going back in 40s, 30s, whatever it was, 50s.
That long history of mafia out of that area.
Yeah, that was connected to Chinatown, so you had that. Connected to a Jewish neighborhood, Delancey Street.
Yep.
Growing up there, it was a real neighborhood back then. You could go. We didn't have there was no clocks. There was no cell phones, no nothing. So what happened? You go out, you're playing all day and night, and you had to be home by the time the lights went out.
Right.
The lamppost in the street. But when the lights went on, you better be home by then.
Yep.
Supper
time, man.
Yeah.
It was back then. You sat with your family and ate supper. There was
And
no denying that.
Sunday, you could smell all the gravy.
Miss that smell, man.
You call it gravy or sauce?
We called it gravy.
Yeah, me too.
My nana used to call it gravy because she put a lot of meat in it, and I believe the meat makes it gravy. That's just my contention. But when you make sauce, it's a marinara sauce, which means just tomatoes and some seasoning. But I think a gravy becomes a gravy with all the meats in it. The pork, the ribs, the whole smash, meatballs, etc.
That's another thing I want to do on the channel is cook.
I agree.
We're going to make a nice gravy.
I'm a frustrated chef. I know you're a pretty good chef from what I've seen.
I could eat. I love. Some people eat to live. I live to eat.
Most men in the Italian families are the main cooks. And what I remember, my grandfather cooked more than my grandmother sometimes. But my nana, which was my mom's mom, she cooked. There was nobody I met in my life that can cook like that lady.
So we got some friends out here that are celebrity chefs. You see them on the Food Network.
Yep.
They got restaurants out here. They already gave us an invite to go there to eat, and they'll sit with us and make us something. And then I asked one if they would give me a cooking lesson.
That'd be a great show.
That'd be a good show.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I want to start getting into food, do some cooking. I even got a friend of mine. Well, the studio actually said, "Hey, would you be interested in going ghost hunting?" Never thought of that.
That'd be a blast.
Like, in other words, we sit down and we.
Yeah, I think we actually have to do that.
But it's like paranormal. I can't go out of state because I'm still on supervised release.
Right.
He said, no, it's a part of Arizona. You go up to where it's known to be like a paranormal area.
Is that Jerome or something up there?
I think it's
probably a couple of areas of what I know. There's
northern Arizona. I think it's Wickenburg. I think.
Oh, you got like Cleator up there. That's pretty haunted.
What's the name of it?
Cleator. They got a bunch of skinwalkers.
How far is that?
That's about 75 miles or so out of Phoenix. Not very far.
I'm assuming we got to go at night.
Or overnight.
Overnight.
Well, don't you have to be there for several hours to see ghosts come out at night, don't
I have
they?
no idea.
I don't either.
I never went ghost hunting before.
It sounds pretty fun. Or scary. One of the two or all.
Then another thing too, before I went away on this beef, this bid, I took up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I grappled for probably 7 years. Trained with the Gracies, trained with Jean-Jacques Machado.
Right.
A lot of Brazilian instructors, guys who founded the art. Became really good friends with Jean-Jacques Machado. I have another friend out here who's a 4th degree black belt, Steve Rosenberg. So I want to take everybody with me when I finally get back on the mat.
Yeah.
Put the gi back on and they can watch me roll.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And then what else? Some jiu-jitsu, cooking, chase some ghosts, sit here with my friends. Got another guy. We got Gioia's got a guy to follow me around with a camera. So we're going to take you through Arizona, different places. And then chess. Because how I did my time inside, first time and the second time, I played a ton of chess. Now I play online because a lot of guys, not a lot of clubs around and stuff like that. They can only get together like once a week.
A lot of stuff like that's being done online.
Yeah, I became, all I do is play chess.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, hours and hours. I still got the same board from prison.
I can't play. You may have to teach me.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know who taught me in the beginning was a Russian guy.
Really?
Yeah, guy. He was in the Russian mob. We'll talk about him later on, but he was with me in MCC, and he taught me. And then I started getting books in from the street.
Okay.
I started getting really good. But then, when you come home, you don't have the time no more because you're raising a family.
Life takes over, man. Yeah.
And then when I went back in, I said, "Look at this! I'm playing chess again." It's like,
came right back.
Yeah, it's like, Then it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
And now I'm keeping up with it because it's a good pastime. With chess, what I want to do is too. Once we get the viewers and we get the comments and stuff, I want to challenge. They could challenge me to play chess because I play people all over the world online, and sometimes I'll play till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I look at it like years ago, you beat people with a bat, a pipe. Well, now you beat them with chess, right?
Right.
So I figure I would put out a challenge now and then. So
challenge America.
Watch me play chess.
Challenge Frank to a game of chess. Let's do it.
I'll put a challenge out. Maybe we'll have something fun where we get a donation. Somebody could put up a prize for it. And
I like it.
They'll be able to play me online.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
Now, jiu-jitsu, I don't know if they can roll with me online. They can't do that, but
they may have to come down and meet you at the gym.
They might have to come and,
yeah.
They'll have to sign a waiver.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saying no liability, We'll see what happens with that. Cooking, it's just going to be us really cooking.
Yeah.
Going out to eat. Or maybe, when I could travel and stuff, we'll go and do some meet and greets or stuff. Or these celebrity chefs, these guys out here, they're known. They go all over the world, so it's going to be cool.
Yeah. So how'd the interview go overall, you think, with Vlad TV? What do you think he's thinking right about now?
The guy was professional. He was, I think a lot of his questions, like I'm saying, there's a lot of misinformation out there, So whatever
Did you have to correct
them
a few times?
Yeah. A couple of times I had to correct them. A couple of times I had to clarify things. And a lot of the times I couldn't really get into it because, one, I'm not that guy anymore. Two, I want to save it for the podcast. I'm not going to, now we got the time and we could really
go
get
more
into
in
it.
depth with the whole.
Yeah, we do it the right way. With him, we're limited.
Right.
We only got a certain amount of time. He's only got a certain amount of questions, and then you answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time, you ever see this? Every time you say something, right? And then when you go play it back, you say, well, I should have said this. I should have said that. I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah.
Whereas if you got your own podcast and we're in control of the timing, nobody's in a rush here because we own the studio, right?
Right.
Nobody's pressed for time. And, he's running a business. He's running a great business.
Yeah.
His team was
well
very
known. Yeah. Team was good to deal with.
Even the days leading up to it, the prep and his team was very responsive. Yeah. I enjoyed it. There's things, you were there in the background for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you think it went?
I think it went super well. Again, Frank, like I've told you before, you come off very genuine, from that little sizzle that we put together, and just you're genuine, and people are going to catch that, and you're very real. And as you said during that interview, you said a couple of times, I'm a little different nowadays. So you got to show the world who you really are.
Yeah, see that sizzle. They want the networks. They want to see this cliche with the mob, like you're supposed to be in a suit and you're supposed to be black and you're supposed to have a cigar in your hand and a whiskey, all this
certain image that they
movie
want
stuff.
Yeah,
and it's really
that's a Hollywood mentality.
One, that's not me.
Right.
I'm not walking around in a suit every day.
I know.
And really, when we were on the street, it wasn't like that either.
No.
You wore a suit to a wedding. You wore it to a wake, funeral.
Yeah.
You wore it to certain occasions, but you never wore a suit every day.
Yeah.
It wasn't
called for.
No, it wasn't realistic.
Yeah.
So even that too.
Mm-hmm.
With Vlad, I felt comfortable because, I'm not going to show up. I told him ahead of time.
Yeah, just a casual interview, right?
One of the guys was trying to talk me into wearing a suit. I says, I'm not going to wear a suit.
No.
Well, can you dress up? Yeah, I'm going to throw on how I dress every day.
Mm-hmm.
I dress in a tracksuit.
That's how they should want you. Yeah, that's as real as it gets.
That's it. That's how what you're going to get. Yeah. So he was okay with that. And like I said, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
It was good dealing with him. I know he did a lot of interviews, a lot of people. I'm glad he didn't bring up anybody in the mob genre, because I don't want to build my channel, talking about people and
Yeah, with that bickering back and forth that so many of them get into, that's never any fun. I'm sure some of the people in the audience like it, but in reality, that's not what we're about. That's not who we are, and you're not going to project that image to people. It's
no,
not necessary.
no, because I see a lot of mudslinging, a lot of, and I go, why can't everybody just get along?
Exactly.
Just
We're all basically in the same family in some form or fashion. Why wouldn't everybody just see it that way? But maybe they see it differently.
So that's why I'm glad you didn't ask me
about anybody in there.
Yeah, because I really got nothing bad to say about anybody.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
really
everybody's
don't.
doing their thing, man.
No, everybody's doing their thing. Everybody, I respect. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
That's why I got no ill will against anybody out there. Hopefully they feel the same way.
Right.
So I got to get used to these. I got to get used to all of this, the microphones and the setup
it's a whole
and everything.
new world.
Say there's a brand new channel. A lot of people out there. You'll help us, evolve, and we're looking forward to the comments. I know there's going to be haters. We love the haters too. We need the haters. Bring it. And you'll help us. What you want to see, what you want us to do, some ideas. You help us out too.
The audience can actually help grow the
help us
channel out
evolve.
and help us with content as well.
And I got to get used to all this.
This is a whole different life.
All this tech stuff. Like I said, it's new to us. It's episode 1. I'm sure we're going to look back at this
and laugh
after episode 500.
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're right.
I've been reading a lot, looking at a lot of things, talking to a lot of pros in this business, and everybody said, hands down, your first podcast is going to suck.
So right now
I don't know if we suck
category right now.
I don't know if we suck right now, but let us know if we do suck.
Our audience will fill us in.
Let us know. Hey,
good, bad, or ugly. Let us know.
You suck. How can we get better at this?
Just tell us. Hey, we're new to this. You know what we did for a living. This is not what we did.
I get used to these microphones, man. This is when we go on the street. Well, I got to wear headphones.
Wired, yeah.
Well,
no, you're wired.
Yeah, you're wearing a wire. It's a lavalier.
What's a lavalier?
A little guy.
Yeah. Oh. So you're wired. We call it wired.
All right. So I guess at some point we'll get used to this.
Yeah. It's.
I don't know if we're gonna drop an episode. How often we're gonna drop an episode?
Frank, that's a good question. I think it's kind of up to your audience, right? Like they decide.
Yeah.
It's like supply and demand. If they say, "Hey, we want to see more," then kind of throw them together and throw them out there. They're all going to want to watch.
They're going to watch. They're
going to want to watch it. They like the genre.
But the genre in general, other than maybe one or two people, are like sporadic with their dropping content is what it looks like to me. But I'm an outsider again, coming into a world I'm not 100% familiar with.
I don't consider this just a mob genre. Like we're gonna do a ton of different content, and I think at the least 1-2 episodes a week. Could be 4 or 5.
Yep.
We'll see.
I think that's.
But what the good news is that we have the team to do it.
Right.
We got the support team. We got all the budgets. Everything is in ready to go. We're not going nowhere. So, nobody's quitting. So here, I don't want to sound like everybody else. Push the like button, hit the smash button, subscribe, like us, and all that stuff. You know what you got to do. If you want to subscribe, you subscribe. You don't want to subscribe, you don't have to subscribe. You want to like it, you can hit like. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it. Okay? So, you do what you want. You know what you have to do. You don't have to hear me say it every time. Like, subscribe, it's the same thing. If you like what you see, the like and the subscription, the subscribe, that helps us. If you don't, then you can still watch us.
Yeah.
We don't care. Am I wrong?
No.
It's honest great. Again. I mean, just being frank. Get it? Just being frank.
I mean, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, okay. You like it. They don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. don't do it.
I'm not going to beg you. We're going to be all over the place. You're going to see us on Instagram, TikTok, where else? Facebook, all the social media platforms you're going to see us. We have a very solid team in place. So we're taking it very seriously. So you're going to see us. You're going to see me. You're going to see my guests. You're going to see everything we're doing. And like I said, if you like what you see, Instagram. Yeah.
Subscribe. I know he said he don't care, but subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care in a way
it's
that...
the ultimate what we would like to see.
I'm not going to...
Because we know you care.
I'm not... I'm not... What can I do about it? You can't do nothing about it.
You can't do anything.
You know?
Hey, drop a comment. Let us know what you see and what you think. And
you can't knock on somebody's door with a bat and say,
yeah, well, we can, but we just don't.
No, we don't do that
we
no
don't
more.
do that. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So you can't do those things. So you say, all right, it's a free country.
Have fun with it.
Yeah. But I'm sure they're going to want to see us. I'm sure they're going to want to subscribe.
Yeah. Well, the stories that you have compiled, Frank, and your life, at the end there, I even heard Vlad TV say it, Frank Gioia Jr., what a life. Amazing to talk to you, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you got a lot of content that could get pushed out there and people are going to enjoy what you have to say. You got a lot of history in you. It's going to be a lot of fun for a lot of people. Trust me.
I appreciate that. Okay. Another thing Vlad said was he laughed at it when I said, if you're not getting sued, you're not doing business.
Yeah. If you're in business, you're getting sued.
You know what? It's true.
Yeah.
He knows. He was in lawsuits and all this stuff. I mean,
especially in the world today, everybody's got some sort of pending lawsuit, don't they?
Oh, forget it.
Yeah, everyone does. It's the world it is. Back when we grew up, you didn't have none of that. You handled it yourselves. Like you said, even your uncle had to go talk to a priest. He talked to him in a couple of different ways, but he talked to him.
Yeah.
Talked to him with his hands.
Not with a lawyer. Eh?
No, there was no attorneys going in to do that like they are today. It's a different world back then. So we can relate to all that. Growing up back then just gave you a different perspective of life.
So when does the Vlad video drop?
Good question. When does your interview drop? I thought I heard him say they were going to try to drop that around the 13th or somewhere around there, but it depends on when they get it edited. So, you had a good interview, so who knows? Maybe it'll take them a minute or two.
So maybe the week after that, maybe the 20th or something?
Yeah. I'm sure before the end of the month, they're going to want to have it out there. So
it could be pushed, a little bit to then, but it's hard to say. It could be a little later than that, too.
Right, so when do we drop this one?
When it's done.
What?
Maybe never.
No, I'm saying
shit.
This podcast, episode 1.
Episode 1. When he edited.
Before Vlad or after Vlad?
Oh, we dropped this one before Vlad.
Before that.
Yeah.
So I guess we got to plug Vlad in.
Yeah.
Vlad's coming on.
Yep.
You're going to see an interview there.
Yeah.
Coming out with Vlad TV. I guess I'll link it up. Everything will link together. You'll check the link in the description on his page. Our page, we're going to link together. And looking forward to see what comes out of that. I know we got a bunch of other shows my agent is talking to about going on and booking and stuff like that. So see what happens. Keep everybody posted.
It's going to be fun, kids. Stay tuned. Uncle Sonny said so.
That's it for now. I'll see you when I see you.
Good night, everyone.